So CBS News legal analyst Rikki Klieman is joining us now for more insight into what we can expect from today's trial. Okay.
Hi, Rikki.
Hi, Rikki.
Hello.
So often when we talk about this, in order to help people understand, we make comparisons with the criminal justice system and a criminal trial. And up until this point, I feel like there have been, many similarities. But now we certainly have a jury. And we have a judge, but they're playing very different roles, I think, than they would in a criminal trial.
Completely different roles. What you have to understand, of course, in a criminal trial is the power of the judge himself or herself, that the judge has total control of how something shall proceed, and the judge rules on what's admissible and what is not admissible. Here, Justice Roberts, and we can all have a lot of sympathy for him, has to do his normal job in the morning and sit on cases at the United States Supreme Court, write opinions, edit opinions, write dissents, if he's having dissents, and edit them. At the same time, promptly at 1 o'clock, after he finishes his real job, he comes over to the Senate and he presides, which I'd say in quotes, which really means he is there to, in essence, to echo Chip, to keep decorum. He doesn't really have any kind of decisive role unless there is a tie vote on something and he would have to break a tie. Where the power is in the trial, just as the House has the sole power to impeach, the Senate has the sole power to create their own rules of procedure and, in essence, their own rules of evidence. So when you have from Mitch McConnell saying, okay, opening statements, 24 hours, 12 hours aside. The way I want it done is you're going to do it from day to day, so we could be here, it could start at 1 o'clock, and we could be here till 1 in the morning, 12 hours each day, and because he wants a speedy end to this. It is said that Mitch McConnell's goal is to have impeachment signed, sealed, and delivered acquittal before the State of the Union, and the way his rules are set up, it's designed to do that.
So let me ask you about this legal brief that the White House released yesterday, which sort of outlines the president's lawyers and their plans going forward. You've had Alan Dershowitz, who's been actually appearing on television quite a lot since he was announced as part of the team.
This is paradise for Alan Dershowitz.
Is it really?
Yes.
Explain that, because it feels as if a lot of other lawyers, mostly on TV, right, are saying that this legal brief is flimsy. And then you've got Mr. Dershowitz appearing on cable news, either defending his rationale for being on the team when there's evidence of him suggesting that the president of the United States does not need to have committed a crime to be impeached, even though now they're arguing the president of the United States has not committed a crime, therefore should not be impeached.
Well, we could look at clips, and certainly we have, and other stations have, looked at clips of what people said in 1998 regarding President Clinton, and they are now saying completely the opposite.
All of them. I mean, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican,
I would agree
you can go
with
to the videotape and find each of them taking opposite sides of the argument from where they are today in 2020.
Now, if you're a lawyer, by the way, and you're in court, that's perfectly permissible. You are supposed to give zealous representation to your client. That is your duty. And when we were in law school, one of my favorite things to learn, because it was counterintuitive to the person that I am, was a professor would call on you to argue one side of the case, and you would argue it passionately and with logic, point by point, and you'd get down and feel very proud, and he'd have you get right back up, and he would say, now argue the other side.
As passionately.
As passionately. And that's really the barrister system of what we know in the Commonwealth countries. So lawyers are supposed to argue for their clients. In this particular situation, however, it does seem enormously hypocritical for those not in the position of arguing as advocates, as lawyers, but just arguing as human beings. That looks hypocritical. The lawyer, I can understand. So what the lawyers for the president are saying is really very simple. They are saying that the president did absolutely nothing wrong, absolutely nothing illegal. And so that's where they start. Or in other words, as President Trump is wont to say, it was a perfect phone call. And then they go, which lawyers do, even if you believe that he did something wrong, it is still not impeachable. And where Alan Dershowitz is that if it's not a crime, then it cannot be impeachable, which of course is truly an untenable position.
Can I just ask a quick question? Because I've never been in legal jeopardy, so all I know about what happens behind closed doors with lawyers is from Law and Order and from talking to you. But it always strikes me that the lawyers say to their clients, look, just tell me the truth.
Right.
And then I can go out and defend you.
Yeah.
So the question becomes,
well,
would you...
up to a point.
Oh, really? So if, well, see, this
No,
is...
but they do always seem to say that.
They do
right?
always seem to say, like, just let me know so I'm not surprised.
Well,
so
lie to your
I'm not
lawyer.
surprised.
You don't want to lie to your lawyer.
You don't.
So the president keeps saying in public the call was perfect. Are there discussions happening with lawyers, or if you were on the team, would you want to know? Was it
What
really?
did you
was
say
it really
to
a
John
perfect call?
Bolton? What did you say to Bill Barr?
Of course I would want to know.
Right.
Of course I would want to know for the most basic of reasons. If President Trump never said anything directly to John Bolton or to Mick Mulvaney or to others, which was a direct order to withhold aid to Ukraine unless and until President Zelensky announced whether or not he was going to do it, investigations into Burisma, Hunter Biden, and therefore affect the future of the 2020 election and Joe Biden's prospects. I need to know that because if he really never said anything to particularly John Bolton, well, then have John Bolton testify. We all, society, I won't say we all, there's a great majority of people in the country who have a firm belief that John Bolton must be the person who has the goods on President Trump. Well, maybe he doesn't.
Maybe he doesn't. I think that too.
Maybe he doesn't.
We don't know. We don't know.
Maybe we have no idea.
Right.
The closest we come to is Fiona Hill's testimony before the Senate Intelligence Committee, when she is very articulate about John Bolton saying
The congressional,
I don't want to be in the House.
Yeah.
Right.
When she says John Bolton said, I don't want to be part of this drug deal.
Right.
That is being cooked up by Mick Mulvaney and Rudy Giuliani. So that's the closest we get. Now, one would say, if John Bolton has nothing bad to say about the president, why wouldn't the president and his lawyers want Bolton to testify?
That's a good question. Good question.
All
Rikki.
right, Rikki, thank you.
So great to have you.
I'll
Thank
be
you.
back.